Hello, I'm Christina. In the last video, I told you how you can use the comparison of fear to break free from procrastination. And in this video, I want to talk about how the people in our lives shape us. Especially, what if we are not choosing our friends, but our nervous system does? Because this is something I realized only last year. I had a friend back then of 17 years, and we knew each other since school. Of course, I liked her in the beginning, but the thing is, slowly but surely, I realized she's more and more like my mother. And then I realized the male friend I had for 17 years as well is kind of like my father. They even share the same birthday. And it was too weird of a coincidence to have no meaning. So I thought about it and researched a little bit, and I came to the conclusion that it was the nervous system who chose these friends for me, more or less. And that just because our nervous system wants us to be safe, and it likes comfort, it likes the predictability, if that's the right word. It wants to predict our future and our now, because it wants to have us safe. But safety does not mean that it's healthy for us. And this is especially true if you grew up in an environment, in a family that maybe was full of criticism, or you even had maybe narcissistic people, or you were emotionally neglected. Then it's quite unhealthy to let the nervous system choose your friends, because they can really drag you down and drain all your energy. So it's really important to become aware of that. And I'm so glad I did last year. And, even the male friend I have, or both rather, they never were really like how I would like to have my friends. I just had them in my life because it was just normal. And that's often the problem, especially if we have longer friendships. If we know someone for 10 years, 20 years, or even more, several decades, we want to protect it, because otherwise it would be kind of a waste to leave this kind of friendship, because oftentimes we equal the duration of a friendship with quality of friendship or the health. But just because you know someone for a very long time does not mean that you have a great friend. It does not even mean that they know you. They only know you if they are really interested in you. And for me personally, I grew up with narcissistic people, and I was emotionally neglected as well. So my nervous system chose people in my life I would rather do things for. I would always give, but nobody gave to me. But I was used to that. I quite liked it because it felt normal. And especially if you're an anxious person, you easily fall into the trap of people pleasing. And then it's no friendship anymore. And so many people are in friendships just because they don't want to be lonely. And this is absolutely not healthy, especially if you want to start anew in your life. You want to do something different. You have to change your environment as well. You know that if you want to change your identity because you want to change something in your life, then you have to change the environment as well. And this applies to people as well. And you've probably heard stories about maybe, for example, women who have married abusive partners and then they divorce them and then they have a new partner and they are abusive as well. It's not because these people or these women want those kind of people in their life. Of course, they don't want to be abused, but it's just normal for them to be surrounded by these people. So I want you to really think about if you might not have those kind of people in your life, those you have not really chosen. You're not 100% sure that you want to have these people in your life. And oftentimes, if we know someone for a very long time, we think of them as best friend. And I really have a problem with this word, this best, because it's a superlative. It means one friend is better than the other friend. So first of all, you have to have at least 3 friends, or even 4 friends, because you have a friend, then you have a good friend, then you have a better friend, and then you have a best friend. What does it actually mean? It's kind of like you prefer this one best friend over the other friends. But if you do that, in my opinion, that's not friendship anymore. If you prefer one friend over the other, either you have a friend or you don't have a friend. And I want to give also an example from my father. Back then he was alcoholic. And it took him several months to become sober. And he had a childhood friend back then, and he still does. They have known each other for over 60 years. They've known each other since kindergarten. And that's a problem I explained earlier. They think of themselves or each other as best friend. But when my father was sober after some time, and they went out to eat dinner, his friend drank alcohol in front of him because it was more important for him to drink alcohol than really support my father in his journey to become sober. And what happened? Well, my father started drinking alcohol after that as well. He does not drink as much as back then because he's mentally way more stable as well. But I don't think that's friendship. It feels more like Platonic situationship. And in a situationship is something that you do not take responsibility in. You don't take responsibility for the people you have in your life or you associate with. You just do it because you gain something. Maybe you're not alone anymore, but this is probably the most common reason. Just to have someone in their life. And I had a friend back then as well. And I really liked her. But the problem was for her that we were living too far apart. And she wanted to have friends, people in her surroundings. Because for her, friendship just meant to have people in your vicinity, that you have access to them easily and that you can spontaneously do something with them, have fun, go outside, or whatever. And when she moved, she had no friends there. So she forcefully tried to be friends with someone she did not even like. She did not like this person and she didn't like her as well. But she kind of forced herself to. And then the question is, what becomes of your life if you treat the people in your life like that, with the relationship in your life like that? If it's with friendships, how do you treat romantic relationships? It's important. It's one of the most important decisions you can make, who you let in your life. You've probably heard of this phrase that you are the 5 people you spend most time with. And this is absolutely true, because they train your nervous system what's normal for you. If you always need to people please, if you always need to do something for other people, if you always let yourself get neglected or criticized because it feels normal, then you will end up always with these kind of people. It won't change until you become aware of that and you actually want to change that. And so I encourage you to really think about that. If you have maybe a person like that in your life, and of course we all kind of want to have friends in our life, and oftentimes we say yes too easily to someone which might not be healthy for us. And even if you don't have any friends, it could be a blessing in disguise, because especially if you want to start over in your life, if you want to just start a new chapter, then you can actually consciously choose the people who you let in. And that's one of the most important decisions you can make. Even if you don't have friends, you will have some at some point. As long as you do not isolate yourself or live like a hermit, then everything is going to be fine. So this is everything so far. And I'd be really interested if you have friends like that your nervous system choose. And if you want to, you can comment, or you can make some suggestions or recommendations. I'll be happy to read everything, and bye!